Mr. Crawford.
How you doing?
How are we doing?
Yeah, hey, we're not supposed to be.
We were supposed to do elbow.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, thank you for answering my interview today. I want to start off with, how did you start, your job, which is hunting outfielder, and what made you to start it?
So, when people ask you what your dream job is, I didn't realize it, but this is my dream job. But at the time, I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
That was always my dream job. But I grew up hunting. When I was a little fellow, I would take my BB gun and leave the house and be gone all day. And I'd come back with rabbits and quail and all kinds of stuff. And I sort of grew up with a hunting heritage, but my brother and I, we took it to a whole new level. But something that he and I always talked about doing was at some point when our careers were going the way we wanted them to go, that we would start a business, an outfitting business.
Okay.
But he died young. And so when he passed away, that was one of the things that I told myself that I would do, is I would accomplish that dream that he and I had together.
So he was one of your motivation to become a hunter?
Well, he and I together, we grew up hunting together. He was my hunting partner, and we went on all kinds of hunting adventures together. My dad used to drop us off at Gordon Hirabashi, or it used to be called prison camp, the day after Christmas, and we would backpack in with our bows, and we would be gone for 4 days chasing deer with our bows. I mean, I was probably 12 years old.
Wow.
Could you imagine doing that now?
Yeah.
Most parents probably wouldn't let them, but I would let my kids do it.
Yeah, that's very cool. So people basically ask you to go out, on the field.
Yeah, so, one of the hardest parts about this is just getting a client base. There's a lot of competition out there. My guess is there's probably 400 or 500 outfitters in the state of Arizona. So you had to stand out, and you had to work hard to figure out how to generate business. I'm 49, and social media and all that stuff is foreign to me, and I wouldn't know how to do that, and I didn't know how to do it. I started out the old-fashioned way in advertising in publications and things like that, and not until later, until Carly got older and started telling me all about social media, I changed the methods that I advertise. So I have a website, which I've had for a long time, and I do a lot of social media type advertising. And I'm doing better now with doing videos on YouTube and things like that you already know about. And so that's really my next form of advertising that I'm really trying to focus in on is social media.
You have any business partner or any worker underneath?
Yeah, so in business, there's lots of different types of businesses. And in mine, I hire subcontractors. So that's a little different. So subcontractor, they're not full-time employees. I don't have to pay their medical insurance. I don't have to pay their taxes. They are responsible for all of that. Now, all the guys who work for me, they're all professionals. They're firefighters, they're law enforcement officers. So they have an abundance of time, and so they can come and work for me as a subcontractor and guide hunters for me.
So I bet you've been go on the field a lot of time and had a lot of experience. But I want to know what was the most risky time that you ever had? You ever felt like you were about to die? Or I bet it's gonna be a lot of time.
No, not really.
Not really?
No, and it's not what you would expect. I've been up close and personal with bears. I've seen mountain lions numerous times. And I've never felt threatened by them ever. The things that have threatened me the most have been working on the border and coming in contact with drug smugglers and those kinds of people. Now, I don't feel like I was ever at risk or in danger. My feeling is with those guys is that they would rather not mess with me, just like I don't want to mess with them. Because I think if they mess with me, then that's going to bring attention to their business, and they don't really want that. And so they try to avoid me.
Cool. That's good that nothing happened to you so far.
No, one funny story that I'll tell you is that I have this hunter that comes from England. I have people that come from all over the world to hunt here in Arizona. A lot of people don't realize that. But this one guy came from England, and he came to javelina hunt with us. And we walked into a scout camp, a drug smuggling scout camp. See, the cartels, they will put guys on various high peaks, and they'll live there year round, and they're set up with high-powered optics and sat phones and things like that, where they can communicate with the drug loads, and they tell the drug loads which direction to go. Hey, you have somebody coming in, you want to go this way or that way to avoid being captured. And so these guys, I don't know how it happened, but we ended up walking right into their camp, and they didn't make any sudden moves, and we didn't. We just kept walking right through the camp and just ignored it. And the whole time, my hunter's like, Simon, hey, Simon. I said, yeah, I know, just keep walking. I said, shut up, just keep walking. Yeah. So anyhow, and I've been in business for 11 years now, I think. 11 years, okay. We offer a variety of different hunts in Arizona. First of all, I told you that we guide people from all over the world, which is true. I don't, however, guide anybody in Arizona. I only guide out-of-state hunters and people who come from other countries. The things that we guide for are elk and deer and javelina and bears and quail, antelope, elk. What else? And predators also.
Okay. So people will basically, contact with you and like ask you for how much pay.
So the way that works is either they do a Google search and they find my website, or they find an ad that I'm running somewhere, maybe on Facebook or Instagram, and then that directs them to my website. They look at my website, and then they call me, and then it's kind of, they put me through an interview process, essentially. They're trying to find out about me, and actually I'm interviewing them at the same time. Because I don't want to just take anybody.
That's true.
I'm very careful and selective in who comes and hunts with me. If I get just a bad feel for them, like, maybe they're a little bit aggressive, or appear to be a little bit irresponsible over the phone, then I won't book them, because we're dealing with firearms and firearm safety, and that's a big part of what we do at Crawford Guide Service. And so they'll call me, and we'll go through a conversation, and I'll kind of learn from them and what their expectations are and what they want. Because here's the thing, Eunwoo, is that this is very expensive. And so I fully understand that their money is valuable, and also their time is valuable. And so we want to make it a great experience for them when they come here. So that way, when they come here and they have a great time, their hunt was successful, and then they come back and they want to do it again, or they tell their friends. I mean, word of mouth is one of my biggest forms of advertising. So like I said, I guide quail hunters, and they book me by the day. And they can book as many days as they want. And they have a limit. So the state sets a limit for the species. So for quail, it's 8 birds a day. And then for deer, it's just 1 deer a year. And javelina, 1 javelina a year. And turkey, and so on and so forth. The big game animals, it's only 1 of those a year. And so on those hunts, they book a package deal with me. And what that means is, because we're a full service outfitter and guide, and so we completely outfit everything they need. So a hunter, when they decide they want to book a hunt with me, they come with all of their personal items: a sleeping bag, a pillow, the clothes that they want to wear, the gun that they want to use, the ammunition that they want to use, and then their tag, their hunting tag and license that they received from Arizona Game and Fish Department. So they show up with all that, and then we supply everything else. We supply, depending on the size of the group, guys can stay in tents. They can stay in tow-behind trailers. And so we supply somewhere for them to sleep, all the food, drinks, snacks, and then all the trophy care. When when they shoot their animal, we come in and we'll field dress it, which means we take the cape off and we cool it off and we get it back to camp and then get it cut up for them to transport back to wherever they're from.
That's interesting. Every time when you go, because like you got to be like very careful with all your stuff.
Yes.
But was it like ever like being challenging, or like was it challenging every day when you go out, or was like any time?
Sure, it can be. One of the things that separates, I think, my company from all the others, not necessarily all the others, but we do a lot of work in advance of the guys getting there. So let's say that you call me and say, hey, Mr. Crawford, I want to book a hunt with your business. And let's say it's a Coos Whitetail hunt. And in the state of Arizona, the state is broken up into hunting units. And so you draw a certain unit, a unit that I would tell you to apply for. So now we're really getting into this big discussion now of how a person gets tags, but I'll tell you about that after this part.
Okay.
So you draw a unit that I tell you to draw, and then starting a couple weeks before you get here, we'll be in the field looking for animals for you to shoot.
No.
And then we'll kind of keep tabs of those animals. My goal is that when you get to camp, because what happens is you'll arrive in camp the night before the hunt, and then we'll have dinner, and then we'll go to bed, and we'll get up early, and then go to the hunting spot, and then we'll look for the deer that hopefully I've already found, and I already know where it is or where it lives and what its habits are and what it does every day. So on the first day, you can harvest your animal. That. If I can get you to shoot a deer on the first day, that means that the amount of money that I make on your hunt is greater because I spent less time doing it. So in other words, when you book a hunt with me, I'll send you a contract. I'll also send you a hunter questionnaire, which kind of is you telling me about yourself, what your age, what's your level of fitness, do you have any allergies, things like that, any health issues that I should know about. And we get that out first, and then you sign a waiver, of course, saying that you promise not to sue me if you fall and hurt yourself. So we get all that stuff taken care of, and then we go and we shoot that deer. So you send me a deposit. When you send me back all that paperwork, you'll send me 50% deposit. And then when you arrive in camp, then you pay me the remaining 50%. So before we even start, I've collected all the money.
Wow.
And the reason that I do that is that it's never happened to me, but I could see that I've heard from other outfitters and guides that this has happened. That for whatever reason, a guy has a horrible time on the hunt.
Wow.
And he decides, hey, at the end of the hunt, I'm not going to pay you the rest of the money because you were horrible. And then they leave with all their money.
Wow.
Leave with the rest of my money that they owe me. So hunting is, even though I could go in and I could have it scouted out and I know right where all the bucks are or whatever it is that we're hunting, things can change in a hurry. It's still hunting. It's no guarantee. Just because you book with me doesn't mean that you're going to go out and shoot the buck that you want to shoot.
Yeah.
Things can happen. Things can change. We hunt on public land, so there could be other hunters in the area that I've spent time scouting in. So we would have to go to a Plan B spot or a Plan C spot.
True.
Yeah.
So whenever you go out, for hunting with the other guys, who ask you to go with, was it always successful, or was it ever happen you got nothing?
Oh no, that happens. It happens a lot. And the thing is that I'm a hunter. The thing is that I can't do it all for them. My guides can't do it all for the hunter. The hunter has to take responsibility, so they have to show up ready to go. They have to know that their gun is sighted in, and they have to know their ballistics. In other words, so you and I, we go hunting, and I find a deer that's 390 yards away. You have to know where your bullet is going to hit at 390 yards. Is it going to get high at 390? Is it going to hit low? Do you have a custom dial on your scope that you can dial in the yardage? Are you familiar with your gun? Do you know what your gun's going to do when you have a 10-mile-an-hour crosswind? So you have to show up with your ducks lined up. So a lot of guys not a lot of guys, most guys show up squared away and ready to go. And they know everything about their gun and they know how to shoot it and shoot it well. But, every year it happens. A guy shows up and he has no idea where his bullet will hit at 400 yards. And so they're going to miss. I've had guys miss and miss and miss and miss over 4 days or 5 days, and then it's getting down to the last hour of the last day, and we've got this great buck standing there again, and they're in the scope, and they're looking through the scope at the buck, and then they get out and they say, "Here, you shoot it." And I said, "There's no, that's against the law. I can't shoot it for you." Yeah. They have to shoot it. It's their tag. I can't do everything. So in other words, we can only do so much. In all actuality, if I took you and on the first hour of the hunt, we find the buck that you want to shoot and you pull the trigger and you miss it, to me, the hunt's already a success. I did my job. I put you on the buck that you wanted to shoot, and then you missed it. Now I talk about the buck that you wanted to shoot. So, like I said, we go out and we do scouting trips in advance, and we use high-powered optics on a tripod. And I can hook my phone up to my spotting scope, and I can take video and still pictures of the game. And then I take those pictures and videos and I send it to my clients and say, "Hey, here's what I'm seeing. What do you think of this buck?" And that's the buck I want to hunt. And so we'll focus in on that buck specifically.
I'm gonna ask you the last question. Well, it's for me and whoever's gonna see this video.
Sure.
So is there any tips or advice that people who want to become like you or start their own business? But is there any easy tips or advice that you can give out?
Well, to get to work as a hunting guide, my suggestion is for you to work under another outfitter and learn the trade. Learn how to find deer, learn how to field dress deer, learn how to do first aid and CPR in the field, and that's critical. In all the years that I've worked as an outfitter, I've never had any serious injuries. Although this last year I had a guy blow his knee out, and we were about a mile from my truck. So that made it interesting getting him back, but that was the first time that anybody has ever had any kind of an injury with me. I have these portable ice packs I keep in my truck, and I was worried that maybe they had expired. I had them for so long and never used them. So I finally got to use those. So I would say that's where I would start is learning how to be an outfitter, learning how to be a guide, learning just increasing your skills and knowledge of the game that you want to guide for. And then also learning how to deal with people. So much of what I do is being able to talk to people, to be a good communicator. Also being organized is huge. But being personable, I think that's one of the things that just being somebody who loves God and is and tries to treat others like I would want to be treated. That's helped me the most, and that's probably gotten me more return business than anything else. Is that people, they meet me on the phone and they come to my camp and they spend 4 or 5 days with me or just one day, and they we develop a friendship. And I've developed a lot of friends over the years through guys coming and hunting with me.
Cool.
And then the business side of it is probably was the hardest thing for me, and it's something that you're always learning and trying to get better and improve on, and with your taxes and with how you manage your money, the finances, budgeting. That's all huge. And if I was in high school, I would really encourage people to take a finance class of some kind. Or I know that they offer one at Desert to help with learning how to budget your checkbook and learning how to budget your money. That's hugely important.
Okay.
That's the one thing I found, and I know one of the hardest things about my business in the beginning was growing it and making it profitable. It took a long time for it to become profitable, and it's a lot of pinching pennies and watching how you spend your money, and so that's probably The second thing that I would recommend people do is learn about that, learn how to budget your money well, and how to spend it wisely.
Thank you for your story.
That was too easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all I got for you today.
Good.
Yeah.
That cover everything?
Yeah, it was perfect. Thank you for again.
You're welcome. Thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah.